Since 1983, TruckMovers.com has built the reputation of being the most efficient and trusted truck driveway transporter in North America. The nation's leading truck manufacturers and dealers know they can depend on their experience, capacity, and the industry-leading technology to get all of your trucks where they need to be safely and efficiently. From box trucks to mixer bodies, dump trucks or garbage trucks, from school buses to trailers and flatbeds, and more, whether used or new, right off the factory floor, they've got you covered, moving thousands of trucks every week. For a free quote, call 816-861-5444. What can TruckMovers.com move for you today? Nobody moves more trucks, and nobody moves them better than TruckMovers.com. It's been said that the one constant is change. And with each passing year, it seems as though the financial landscape becomes more complex to navigate. With more than 30 years of investment industry experience, Community Financial Services Group can help. Please call 816-322-2760 to schedule a comprehensive review. The number again, 816-322-2760. Community Financial. Teamwork you can bank on.
Securities offered through the ON Equity Sales Company, member FINRA SIPC, One Financial Way, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45242. Phone number 513-794-6794. Investment advisory services offered through ON Investment Management Company. Investments are not FDIC insured, may lose value, and are not guaranteed by the financial institution.
Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHP Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. He's Kirk Elliott. We're the racing boys. Drake back running the show back at Sports Radio 810 WHB. Todd Surprise running the show here for us with all of our cameras.
And we got a new guy back there, too, Covell.
Covell?
Yeah.
He'll be taking over next week, right?
I think so.
Right.
So we're in good hands.
We're in good hands. We're always in good hands when Drake is back there at the studio. You can never... You never fail when Drake is back there working for us.
I'm usually here. It's in some form or another.
Are you normally there on Saturday mornings, every Saturday morning, Drake?
A lot of Saturday morning.
And that was not in your job description, was it, to be in there on Saturday mornings?
My job description is whatever's needed whenever it's needed.
Right.
And you don't live far away, so that's
about 20 minutes. It's not bad.
Yeah. And you're a team player. That's the great thing about you, Drake. That's
and I love Track Talk.
Right. You've been around Track Talk a few years, haven't you?
A couple.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure Sports Radio 810 WHB be where it is today
without Drake. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. To be really fair, Drake is one of the old timers. Is that right, Drake? You're one of the old timers there at Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Since October 26th of 1999.
99.
About as long as you've been around.
I started Drake was over there on the FM side of the radio, and I started in 98. That's when I started.
On the old 1510.
On the old 1510.
Now, I did stuff on 1510 with Pete and Seren back before Chad ever bought it.
Oh, you did? I did.
But both you guys have been around for the whole run of WHB.
Right, yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think I was one of the first 5 people that was hired over there at that time. That was good times, man. I'll never forget calling in on the afternoon show, and one day Kevin, he just asked us, he said, listen, I want to talk to you off the air. And 3 weeks later, I was on the air.
So you got on. You are where you are today because you were a caller.
I was a caller.
To Sports Radio 810.
Yeah, that was it.
Or the old 1510.
And that works out. That works out sometimes, doesn't it? When callers call in, and sometimes they're really good. And
Stephen St. John started out as a caller called MU Rock.
MU Rock, yeah.
That's how he got started.
Yeah, no doubt.
How about that?
Yeah.
I thought that's how I was going to get my gig. I used to be Todd from Overland Park from back in the day when
Don from Overland Park.
Don Fortune had his show, and I was the infamous Todd from Overland Park, and I swore I was going to find a way on, but here I am on.
Well, here you are.
Here I am.
Here you are. All right. Well, let's get into some racing right now. I think some of the biggest news coming out of the sprint car world was that Hunter Schuerenberg was let go from the 55 car, Kurt.
He was a regular on the All-Star Circuit of Champions.
I don't understand this, to be honest with you, because what really blows my mind is that Buddy Kofoid come in there and just offered him a lot of money. And that's what ended up calling.
Plus, he's got a lot of talent.
Hunter Schuerenberg has done a really good job in that car.
He has, and he's won races in that car.
Right, yeah.
And it was kind of a family operation because Clinton Boyles was turning the wrenches on that car.
Right.
So I'm not exactly sure where that leaves Clinton at this point, or Hunter, but that was a pretty successful operation with Hunter Schuerenberg behind the wheel.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
They won multiple races on the All-Star Tour. They run into some issues here in the last several races. They were having some problems getting finishes that they wanted, but they were still pretty good in that car.
Yeah.
But here comes Buddy Kofoid, who was let go from the Leighton Crouch number 11 team, and he was looking for a ride.
He was driving the 71 car there for a little bit, wasn't he?
For Bernie Stuchin.
Yeah.
But that's not a full-time gig.
No, right.
That's just kind of a one-off deal, and I think Buddy was looking for a more permanent situation. And, if you bring money to the table, you're not going to – if you're a team owner like Vermeer Motorsports, you're going to turn that down.
It's so funny that we're talking about this right now because really money is the name of the game right now, isn't it, Kurt?
Yeah, if you bring the cash.
You bring the cash and – You bring some motors or you bring some cars or whatever you need to bring to the table. That's what usually gets you some rides.
But you have to do that.
Yeah.
Even for a driver as talented as Buddy Kofoid, even he has to bring money to the table.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think that if there was a young rock star type guy like Buddy Kofoid, that you would put him in your car for free? Right? The talent that guy has is extreme. I mean, he is one of the best sprint car drivers out there driving right now, and he's also an excellent midget racer as well.
Which makes it shocking that Leighton Crouch, the Crouch team, number 11, let him go. He was they said that the communications weren't right between Buddy and the team members of that car. And so
now listen,
they put Corey Eliason behind the wheel of that number 11 car.
Do you think Corey Eliason is going to be as good as Buddy Kofoid?
Over the long term, no. But in the short term, Corey's done a pretty good job in that car.
Right, no doubt.
So
I hate it for Hunter Schuerenberg as well.
Yeah, good kid. So
excellent racer.
He'll land on his feet somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's going to end up, but hopefully he'll get a ride before too long.
It's a cutthroat business in sprint car racing, just like it is in all racing right now. The money's big, and the stakes are high, and you got to produce, which I think he did produce, but. You take a look at a guy like Buddy Kofoid that's available, pretty hard to turn that down.
Right. Hey, Todd.
Yeah,
we were talking a little bit earlier about Kenny Wallace. He was going on a rant about how much money you have to bring to get a ride in even at the truck level.
Yeah.
Kenny Wallace is a 2-time truck champion.
Well, it was Joey Logano who was interviewing him, and Joey said even at the Bristol race he just raced at, he had to bring money to get it, even get into that truck that weekend.
Right.
And I mean, this is a guy, like you said, you would think that maybe a truck, they would want this guy to come in. I mean, all it's going to do is bring more eyes to the table and more information to the
There's
table.
a driver. There's only 17 drivers in the history of NASCAR that have won multiple Cup Series championships.
And he's one.
Joey Logano is one of them. Even he says he's got to bring money to the table.
Joey Logano is one of them.
So
Yeah.
it just tells you right there. I mean, if Joey's in this day and age, if he's still got to bring big bucks to get in a truck ride for one weekend, for just a one-off weekend.
Here's what goes on. People that create relationships with a sponsor, then take that sponsor and whatever they can get, whatever amount of money they can get out of that sponsor, they take that to the race team. And they ask them, say, listen, is this enough money to get the ride in your truck or your Xfinity car, right?
Yeah. Well, sponsorships have changed. No longer,
and it's that way in ARCA as well.
Well, that was
to be
what he was
honest with
saying.
you.
no longer are the days of where you can, the big corporate entities will put out multi-million dollars for a season long of sponsorships. Those days are gone.
Right.
And so they have to pool their resources with multiple sponsorships.
Right.
Because the sponsors don't pay all the bills anymore in NASCAR.
Right.
And so you got to find other resources. The way NASCAR is with the team franchises, I call them franchises. They call them something else. But that you can make money with the NASCAR team now, the way that's set up, because the value that's created with those teams. But in the other series, like Xfinity and the Truck Series, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And so that the money situation with NASCAR and the business model has changed over the last 10 years, and you got to get the money from multiple sources now.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out to Sherry Imperial. She is listening in from Arizona, and we also got Kelly. He's listening in from Oregon as well. So, and we've got Lance. He's listening in from Iowa. So,
well, we watched some great racing last night. I stayed home and watched a whole lot of racing last night, as I know you did.
It was a good night of racing last night.
We had.
How about Blackjack Brian Brown beating the pants off of the World of Outlaws last night up there at Knoxville Raceway?
He spanked him, and it was a pretty good indication early in the night when he qualified well in the second group of qualifying, got himself in a good qualifying position, which is really the key to these World of Outlaw races. Finished in a transfer spot in the heat race, got himself into the dash, started up front, and the way he passed Austin McCarl there at the beginning of the race, because I thought Austin was going to be stronger last night than he was, but Brian passed him like he was standing still, and once he got out in the lead, he just checked out.
And his lead at the end of the race was like 3.5 seconds.
Yeah. I thought maybe once Rico got into second place that he might have a chance to chase him down, but Brian was just too far gone and made it look easy last night. And the question I have now, the way he ran last night, can he duplicate it again tonight?
I'm going to say this, and this might be silly to say, but I'm going to say that Blackjack Brian Brown catches Danny Lasowski's number.
No, that's not going to happen.
Well, it could.
Not going to happen.
He could. He could win 10 races a year.
He'd have to race till he was 60. Or maybe even 70 in order to catch Danny Lasowski.
12 in 1 year.
What do you think, Todd? Do you think he's got a chance?
Here's when we started this conversation, I had I thought no way back in the when we first started talking about this.
But he's clicking off these
but
wins.
He's clicking off wins more than he's
yeah,
done.
but
a
look
long
at
time.
it. Look at it this way: he has 63 career wins at Knoxville. Danny Lasowski has 112. He's got nearly 50 more wins. He's already got 60. He'd have to win nearly 50 more. I think 49 more just to tie Danny Lasowski.
I think Brown has got a shot at it.
if anybody's got a shot, he's the only one.
He's
who
the only
does,
one.
because there's no, and what I think's better, so gratifying. He beat Brad Sweet in that, by 3 seconds, and then wasn't but a couple weeks ago those guys were all on a podcast kind of giving Brownie, crud about going backwards, and there he is finishing 3 seconds.
I think he would be the first to admit that's a pretty tall order.
Sam says that he will not catch Danny.
No, I don't think there's any chance of that.
I don't know if he gets on a roll. It could happen.
And even if he got close, Danny, I think he said, well, I'd have to come out and run some races up there to make sure I stay in front.
Yeah.
That was his comment. But no, I don't think that's possible. But, hey, 63 wins, number 2 on the career list at Knoxville. When you look at the drivers behind him on the list, that's still a pretty good accomplishment.
Isn't that
that's
amazing?
Still a great accomplishment.
That his uncle and his nephew are 1 and 2 on the top 2 winning.
They could probably walk into.
That's a big deal at Knoxville.
That is a big deal.
You could walk down the street. Those two could walk down the street for the rest of their life and not have to buy himself a beer or a dinner anytime soon. Those guys they're well known over there in that part of that town.
Yeah.
And here's Rico, who's having a career year, but he's coming up with these second place finishes. The other night up at Eagle Raceway at the high limit race. Oh, he runs behind Kyle Larson up there. And then last night, he goes up against the number 2 guy on the all-time list at Knoxville, Brian Brown, and finishes runner-up there. And how does Rico respond to that? With a smile on his face. Hey, I'm running great.
Right.
Happy to be here. But he's going to win plenty of races down the road as long as Rico is posting the kind of finishes that he's been posting lately. And it seems like he's never off the podium at any of these races.
No doubt.
He's still going to win plenty of A-main events here in 2023.
Todd, do you want to play that post-race interview?
Yeah, we can play some of that right now.
Yeah, let's just do that real quick.
This is from the Dirt Vision broadcast last night up at Knoxville Raceway. Chase Rodman, who's a guest on our Mostly Motorsports every week, conducted the interview.
Yep.
Man, that's how I go to the gym 3 or 4 days a week, because I ran as hard the last lap as I did my first lap. Kept watching the board and seeing the 49 was in second for a while, then Rico, and Chad made some good changes before the A-main. He's really he came back this year, and we're really clicking on all cylinders. It's everything we're doing it good. So Casey's FVP, Mountain Dew Overdrive, Champion Oil, Impact Signs, Awnings and Wraps, JD Welding, Maxim Chassis, Smiley's, Factory Motor Parts, all of our partners, Housby, Charlie Garrett Engines, Factory Cane Shocks, Weld Wheels. The list goes on, but it takes every single one of those. I own it and I drive it, so it takes all of us to be able to make that team. We have people here tonight from Casey's, from Impact Signs, Awnings and Wraps, and our new partner, Iowa Lottery. So when you get a new partner and get it in victory lane, that's always a good start to a partnership. So it's great that they came on board. Want to thank Chad Morgan, my dad Robert, Lath Hicks, and most importantly, my 17 or 18-year-old crew guy came to work for me last year. He was 17 years old. He wanted to come when he was 15. And I said, no, you can't come when you're 15. He came when he was 17 years old. Said, I'll do my homework online. I said, one thing you got to do, we got to get you graduated no matter what. The school work comes first. Today's is high school graduation. So Justin Lauer, that one's for you. Thanks for all you do for our team. And he was a man of his word. He got that graduation done. Now we can really focus on the racing part of it. But overall, I come into this weekend, and I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself a little bit sometimes to make you guys proud. I can come up here and win on the weekend sometimes, and then the Outlaws come, and sometimes I lay an egg. I was so proud to see Austin on the pole, me being third. I've said all along, in order to have a rivalry, you got to beat these guys, and the PA posse beats them. I don't feel like we do it enough, but I feel like I did my part tonight. Just like I said, I'm proud of all of our partners, proud of our whole team. Thank you, Charlie Garrett, for an awesome engine. I'm rambling on. I want to thank my wife, Heather, too. want to thank the gatekeeper down there that lets her come down here. And like I said, it's Casey's Popcorn, Victory Lane. What could be better? Yeah, absolutely. I feel.
All right, there you have it.
Is there anybody that works and manages sponsors better than Brian Brown?
Nobody does it better than Blackjack Brian Brown.
Yeah,
he is the very best at what he does.
I've said it for many years. If you're a young entrepreneur out there getting ready into anything,
just take a good look at Brian Brown.
Just follow him around or follow his social media, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah, he maintains his sponsors as good as any of them. I went down he won last Saturday night, by the way. I was up there for the non-wing USAC special that Jake Swanson won, by the way, past Brady Bacon on the last.
He won last week. He won this week, Kirk.
We got him.
No, I'm talking about Jake Swanson won by passing Brady Bacon coming out the fourth turn
on the non-wing cars.
And before that, Brian won the 410 feature. I went down after the races and congratulated Brian. I said, Brian, congratulations. First thing out of his mouth, he said, thanks for taking up for us.
Right. We did take up for him.
We did. And like I said.
After Kyle Larson
him and Brad Sweet
tore him down on the Brad Sweet podcast.
Kyle Larson kind of threw Blackjack Brian Brown under the bus a little bit.
He threw some haymakers, didn't he? That's not like Kyle Larson either to do that.
I was shocked.
Hey, Kyle, if you're listening this morning, look who won at Knoxville last night.
I was going to say, and Brad Sweet was there smiling and laughing as his brother-in-law, and he finished.
He said that he's normally going backwards instead of going forward.
And Brad Sweet had that look on his face like he couldn't believe he said it, but then kind of laughed along with it. But then Brad last night got beat by 3 seconds. So that's how it works in this game.
Speaking of Jake Swanson, who won that exciting non-wing race up there, we had him on Mostly Motorsports on Monday, and we're going to play that part of that interview coming up here in just a little bit.
Yep, no doubt about it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more of Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Where are they racing at this weekend, Kirk? Do you know?
Central Missouri Speedway.
Speedway tonight. So get down to CMS and check out the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. They'll be racing down at CMS tonight. And we'll be right back with more of Track Talk right here on Sports Radio 810 WHP.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hey Kansas City, it's Justin Reed, safety for your Kansas City Chiefs. As you know, it was a great first year here in Kansas City. And that's right, the whole time I was driving my F-150 from Victory Ford.
Come in today and check out our great selection of F-150s and experience the Victory Ford difference.
Brian Pringle and his team at Victory Ford are not only a world-class dealership with great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles and top-notch customer service, but also a great partner with the J. Reed and D Foundation.
Visit us today at the Legends or VictoryFordKC.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Come out and witness all the high-speed drama, incredible action, and thrills at Heartland Park Motorsports in Topeka on August 11th through 13th for the 33rd Annual Menards NHRA Nationals presented by Pet Armor. See the Top Fuel Funny Car, Pro Stock, Pro Mods, and more. Catch it live on Fox Sports Saturday and Sunday. Speeds of over 300 miles per hour. You can receive a great discount for the big race by going to heartlandmotorsports.us. Type in the promo code 810 and you'll receive 20% off. That's right, 20% off just for using the promo code 810. Heartland Motorsports Park, House of Speed.
Never fails as 101. AC takes a dive. Instead of enjoying summer fun, you're at home roasting alive. Remember, there's a team to call, names good throughout the land. If anyone can make it right, Summit Heating and Cooling can. If you want the top, reach for the Summit. For all your heating and cooling needs, no one else compares. And if you want your bills to drop, reach for the Summit. Reach for that Summit and breathe that mountain air.
If you're needing service or something new, Evergy Missouri residential customers can save up to $900 when you buy an energy-efficient heating and cooling system. If you're looking for the top, reach for the Summit. Summit Heating and Cooling, 816-832-7770 or summithckc.com.
Do you struggle with pain, anxiety, sleep, or lack of energy? It's time for you to talk with CBD American Shaman's expert consultants about the power of high-quality hemp oil. And while supplies last, you can stop by your local CBD American Shaman location today to pick up the limited autographed Tim Grunhard's book, View from the Center. While you're there, pick up some free samples, and they even have great products for your pets. CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
Hey Kansas City, Stephen St. John here. Let me tell you about my incredible experience with Border Magic. They just installed stunning custom concrete landscape edging around our entire home. Our landscaping now looks like a work of art. This concrete landscaping edging will improve your curb appeal and enhance your property value. I would recommend Border Magic to anyone. Check out images of their work at southkc.bordermagic.com. Border Magic, a perfect cost-effective way to create a gorgeous first impression of your home. Call Border Magic today.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB and the RBN Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott, he's Kirk. Todd Surprise helping us out here. Drake back at Sports Radio 810 running the dials. Kirk, we did an interview last weekend with Jake Swanson.
We did, and this was right after he won one of the big races of his career, the Corn Belt Clash at the Knoxville Raceway on Saturday night, and he passed Brady Bacon off the final turn to do it because Bacon had a tire go down.
His tire started to unravel.
Yeah. Laminate, I think is the term that they used.
Mm-hmm.
And Brady was checked out. He looked like he was gone.
He was gone, yeah.
I mean, he was dominating that race, but here comes Jake Swanson and made the move on Brady and passed him off the final turn for the big victory.
Did you see the right rear tire on that?
I saw a picture of it. By the time I got down there and got over to Brady's pit, they'd already changed the tire off and put another one on. So
right.
I saw a video picture of it.
Yeah, it was definitely coming apart.
I talked to Brady after the race. He said, I asked him, I said, how soon did you know that you had a problem? He said with about 3 laps to go, he could feel something was
not right.
So that soon, he said, at that point, I'm just trying to get it to the end.
Right.
One time he got up into the loose stuff down in turn number 4 and was able to keep it on the racetrack, but he couldn't get it to the checkered flag.
No.
Unfortunate for him, but a good night for Jake Swanson.
I think he ran his car a little bit too hard in the first of the race.
That could be.
Yeah.
And Jake, as I think you might hear in this portion of the interview that we did with him on Mostly Motorsports on Monday, was managing his tires because he knew that, when the track started taking rubber, it took it quick.
It laid back. He laid back and took care of his tire. And then when it was time to go, he ran up to the front and won the race. Yeah.
Anyway, here's a portion of the interview that we did with Jake Swanson, the winner of the Corn Belt Clash on Mostly Motorsports from earlier this week.
I know that when I did my show from the Hall of Fame on Saturday morning, and I could tell that the Duncans were sheep's footing the heck out of that racetrack. And it took a little rubber. But the thing that I want to ask you is that it took rubber pretty quick, didn't it?
It did. It was really quick. To be honest with you, I wasn't before the rubber. I felt like, man, we got a top 5 car. I think I could get by Grant. I just needed a long run to do it. And I was about to slide him, and I went down there actually, and I kind of smelled it. There was a lap car that was kind of blocking my lane from sliding them. So I just kind of peeked down and I started to smell it. And then I kind of realized that, at that point we've run 15 laps or so, and I haven't really been hard on my tires. We've been just kind of trying to maintain, and I was just trying to make sure that I wasn't going to crash the thing.
Right.
We really needed a top 5 finish. If you're not in position to win, you just got to make sure it's, you bring it home in one piece and you salvage a good finish. But really what that ended up doing was it saved our tires, to the point to where when the yellow came out, we actually had a good shot. I knew that the rubber was coming because I could smell it, and then the yellow came out, and I was like, oh man, this could completely change the complexity of the race, because there's rubber coming, and I know that those guys, the top three especially, have been hammering their tires.
Right.
So we're going to have fresher stuff than they will. It's just a matter of, if I can not show them where the rubber is, or if they don't move down, right. I think we're going to have a better shot. So that was kind of the biggest thing, but I definitely didn't realize it was going to take that much and that quick, and that helped us even more.
Yeah. Let me ask you, when you pulled off the racetrack, your tire looked really black when you pulled off the racetrack. How was your right rear tire?
It was good. I actually, I probably could have ran a few more laps on it. It had about a 1/8 inch of block on the right rear, but it was just, like I said, I hammered it real hard there the last 10 laps trying to get to the top three and then to the lead. I was probably straight away back from Brady once I finally got to second. But when I got there, I was like, man, I know we're better. I don't know how much better. And we made one lap, and I could tell the closing rate that I had, I was going to get to him by the end of it. So I knew it was just a matter of making sure that my timing was right so I could slide him, at the best opportunity. And I didn't get to him at the wrong spot and show him a nose, and then he moved down and be able to run block.
Right.
Because that's kind of the way those rubber races tend to go. If you show them where you're able to run, they're just going to move down, and that's going to be it. So,
right. I asked Brady at the end of the race, when did he thought he had a problem? He said about 3 laps to go, he could feel it. And he was just trying to hang on at that point. But man, you had to really work hard to get by a couple of really tough guys, C.J. Leary and then Kyle Cummins. Talk about passing those two guys to put yourself in position.
Yeah, well, actually, it kind of started before that because Grant was in front of me, and Grant, I was gonna try to slide Grant into one on that restart, but instead he peeled off and went to slide CJ, and so I jumped to the top to hopefully be able to be able to peel down coming out of 2 and get at least one of them, maybe 2 in the rubber. If I can make the run, I'm going to have more momentum leaving 2. So that was a good move. When I did that, Grant slid CJ, but CJ crossed him over, and they both kind of washed up because the rubber leaving 2 wasn't as prominent. It wasn't super sticky. Yeah. And both of them kind of CJ kind of ran him up in the wall there a little bit, and it worked out great for me because I was able to follow CJ through and then peel off and slide CJ the next corner.
Right.
And then, he had the run going down the hill, so he slid me back, but I think we just had better tire, and I was able to stick it in the rubber off the 2 better than he could. And so we left him. Then I got to Cummins, and same thing, I could tell those guys were struggling because of how much they had abused their tire early on, whereas we were just kind of riding. And so Cummins, same thing. He hung it off a 4 pretty good. And I was able to slide him and get it to stick real nice in the rubber. Then it was on the hunt for Brady. At that point I was like, all right, well, second's good. I don't know if I'm going to get there in time. Then we burned one lap with I think it was 3 to go. And I could tell that we were going to catch him by the end of it, as long as I ran it nice and straight and hit my spots. I just need the most important thing at that point, as long as I can get to him, is to get the timing right. So I actually had to slow down a little bit and not catch him too quick, because I could have showed him a nose leaving 2. And I felt like if I would have done that, he's a smart race car driver, he would have just moved down.
Yeah, no doubt.
And made me go around the outside of him in 3 and 4. Not to say that we couldn't have done that, but I wanted the best shot that I could, and the best shot was definitely to slide him and then stick it, in the rubber off of 4.
Right. Yeah. And that cushion down there in 3 and 4, that was it was a little gnarly up there, wasn't it?
It really was. Yeah. I biked up on it quite a few times. Actually, we knocked the ladder off the car, and I don't know if it was from that or if it was from bouncing off the wall in 2. When I got to second, I was, hunting Brady down. I was trying pretty hard there. but either way, we were on the edge the whole time.
Yeah. Hey, am I correct? Did they say that you had 3 straight top 3 finishes? Is that correct?
We've actually had 4, it might be 5 straight top 3 finishes. I think it's 5 now.
Yeah.
Because those last week, before Knoxville, we ran Terre Haute and then 2 Circle Cities. And we were on the podium for all those. We won one of the Circle Cities. And then Eldora was before that, and we ran second there too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, I remember last fall you won a big race, the Western World, out at Kokopah Speedway track we're pretty familiar with. That's a track you kind of had to manage things to get to the end, was it not?
Yeah, it was kind of the same type of deal. We were really good though that night, especially. I felt like we had the car to beat all night. And not to say that we didn't here at Knoxville, we were really good. We just, track position wise, we weren't there. But yeah, at Western, that was so cool. For my Arizona team, they've been attending that race, participating in the race for years, and obviously I've been doing it since I started racing sprint cars. I've participated in that race, and there's a lot of history with it, and it was really cool to be able to score one for those guys, and for me, it was really a neat deal.
How big is this Corn Belt Clash in your career win wise? Is that one of your biggest wins, you think?
Yeah. I was kind of thinking about that. It's definitely one of my biggest. It's hard to say what's my biggest anymore. I've got so many that mean so much. We've got, the Western was massive. That one's up there. And even like a race, it might sound silly, but for me, like Calistoga, that was so cool to be able to win that, especially with Team Arizona too. But that was one of our first big wins, and it really kind of set the stage for where we ended up, and it gave us the confidence to be like, okay, well, we can beat the best guy out there in CRA, which was Damien. We can beat the best guys on a regular basis out there with CRA. So now let's see what we got when it comes to national. And it's been a long, hard road, but it's been really enjoyable, and the benefits are now showing themselves. So it's now becoming really rewarding.
You sit third in points right now, 76 back of the 4-time champion Brady Bacon. And, man, this thing is up for grabs. You got a ton of races. You got Indiana Sprint Week coming up in July. That's always huge. So a long way to go here to really make a lot of big things happen.
Definitely a long way to go. That's why I'm trying not to get too excited about the points. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter as long as we keep on doing what we're doing at the moment, which is, making sure we minimize mistakes. We rack up those top 3s and top 5s. A bad night we run 4th or 5th. That's going to speak volumes come the end of the year. So we're just going to keep on plugging away, keep our head down, and keep on working at it. And hopefully by the end of it, we're right there in the hunt.
Well, there you have it. That's Jake Swanson after his big win up at the Corn Belt Clash last weekend.
Hey, last night the track I thought was in great shape at Knoxville. We were talking about it taking on rubber last Saturday night. Not the case last night. I thought it was really
Listen,
good.
the Duncans probably cringed last week when that track took rubber with the non-wing cars.
It was shocking. I can't remember the last time I've seen Knoxville take rubber.
Oh, I've seen it take it a time or two, but it's rare that happens.
But you said they pounded the heck out of it. There was a forecast of maybe a shower coming late in the afternoon. They took that out of the forecast later in the afternoon, but they probably pounded the heck out of it. In case it did rain, they had a track still left to race on.
Right.
Once the showers moved out. But no problem with that last night. I thought the track was in great shape up there.
No doubt about it. Blackjack Brian Brown thought it was great too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Win
number 63. Kirk, do we have enough time to talk about Zeb Weiss's win last night?
Yeah, man, what an exciting victory that was.
That was a good win,
Attica Raceway last night. A little bit dusty, kind of hard to see, but Tyler Courtney was on his way to victory.
And Zeb running down.
Zeb comes off the fourth turn in that 26 car and made a run to the outside of him. Looked like Tyler checked up just a little bit. They're coming off the fourth turn. Somebody had, like I say, it was hard to see. But Zeb got the better of him at the finish line in that all-star race in Attica. They're going to do it again. That's the first night of the Ohio Sprint Week last night, and they're racing again at Attica tonight.
You say a little dusty?
It was a little dusty.
We're looking at a little video here provided by
they were blowing some dust last night.
I mean, the racing was good. It was just hard to see.
Yeah, it was.
Man.
The lighting isn't very good at that racetrack either, I don't think. Listen, Kirk, I want to give a shout out to Liberty RV. They're going to give me a motorhome to take to PA Speed Week, and I want to give a big shout out to those guys up there at Liberty RV for allowing me to hook up my truck to one of their RVs and take it to the East Coast.
Good folks out there at Liberty RV.
Man, Preston and his sister are just the best people. They've been working with us for years, haven't they, Kurt?
They have. They've been associated with what we're doing for a long time, so we appreciate all of what they've done for us.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more of the Rod End Supply Track Talk right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll be right back.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
The wait is over. Marijuana is now legal and available in Missouri to anyone over 21. And just like medical cannabis, the best resource for recreational marijuana is Relief Resources Dispensary. Experienced users will be blown away by our selection of over 600 products. And if you're trying marijuana for the first time, our famous patient care specialists can answer all your questions. They've even curated a special selection to make it easier to find the experience you're looking for. Good news for medical card patients, too. Unlike some dispensaries, Relief Resources Dispensary is not raising prices in anticipation of a shortage. We've stocked up and will even have a designated register exclusively for our medical patients. You can also save time ordering ahead online and using the drive-thru. Relief Resources Dispensary remains committed to being the #1 provider of alternative natural cannabis therapies to our medical patients. Relief Resources Dispensary in Grandview on 71 Highway at 140th Street and online at reliefmo.com.
Hey golfers, what would you give to play all 3 of Kansas City's most elite private golf courses? The Kansas City Country Club, Mission Hills Country Club, and Hallbrook. Well, now there's a chance for you and 2 buddies with the 2023 Give Golf Raffle. Tickets are just $100 and proceeds benefit the amazing youth programs at the Police Athletic League of KCK. Enter today at palkck.org. That's PALKCK.org.
Restrictions apply. See website for details.
This weekend's going to be great for grilling outside, and Hen House has the specials to get you started. Specials like USDA Choice Certified 80% lean ground beef, ground fresh several times each day. That's just $3.99 a pound. T-bone steaks for $10.99 a pound. Porterhouse steaks, only $11.99 a pound. And classic beef tenderloin, only $8.99 a pound. And, of course, if you want seafood, they have fresh whole Atlantic salmon fillets, only $9.99 a pound. See all these specials and more on henhouse.com. Hen House, KC's market since 1923.
ICON is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 65 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Volunteers must be available for 1 stay of 33 nights and 1 follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $15,750 for time and travel. Call ICON today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs. To stay at the top of their game, the Chiefs have trusted the University of Kansas Health System for their care. And you can trust them to care for you too. Whether you're a pro athlete, a student athlete, or a fan who likes to stay active, the care remains the same. Because the University of Kansas Health System cares for the entire Chiefs Kingdom. To request an appointment, visit kansashealthsystem.com/Chiefs.
I'm back in 30.
A fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeon with Acentus Healthcare. Acentus now has orthopedic surgery and sports medicine. Myself and Drs. E.J. Wilkinson and Nick Aberly are available for all of your orthopedic needs. Come see our state-of-the-art clinics during our walk-in hours featuring same-day and next-day appointments, Monday through Friday in Leawood and on Parallel Parkway in Kansas City. Call 913-395-0294, 913-395-0294 to book your appointment at Acentus Healthcare today.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810, and it's all brought to you by Rod End Supply. The POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints are going to be running down at CMS this weekend, so get down there and check them out. It's going to be a good race. Those guys, in fact, Kirk, the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints sometimes go faster than the A-Mods, don't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a good class, and they need more entries.
Yeah.
And it's a really affordable way, especially if you like open wheel racing, sprint car racing. It's a good way to get involved. And you can spend a moderate amount of money to get started, and the maintenance costs are pretty reasonable, and you can go fast.
Kirk, and at an entry-level amount of money, too.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you can buy one of these cars for $7,000 to $10,000.
Yeah, and the maintenance costs are pretty reasonable, too. So
yeah, no doubt.
If you want to go fast and have a good time, get a hold of Bob Douglas, and they'll get you all set up.
Bob Douglas told me that he's going to put me in one of his cars this year.
Will you fit in one of those?
Well, I've lost 20 pounds, Kirk. I don't know if you've noticed that yet.
Well, you told me you lost 20 pounds.
I did.
I'll take your word for it.
I started out at 267, and I'm down to 247.
I need to do that.
You need to work on that a little harder, Kurt.
Hey, as we speak, the drivers are strapped in at the 24-hour Le Mans, the 100th anniversary of the 24-hour Le Mans, about ready to get started. We're watching the coverage over here on Motor Trend TV, it looks like.
Yeah.
Big crowd in France, and, if you watch the movie Ford versus Ferrari,
man, that was one of the great all-time movies. Would you say that is the best racing movie ever?
That and Grand Prix are my two favorite racing movies of all time. Yeah.
With Steve McQueen?
No,
or with
James Garner.
James Garner.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought that was a great movie.
What was the one that Steve McQueen was in?
Le Mans, I think.
Le Mans.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
Steve McQueen, my favorite Steve McQueen movie is Bullet.
Oh, no doubt, for sure.
That was a great
No
movie.
doubt about it. That's the best.
Did you watch the late models last night?
I did, and I watched our good friend Mike Marlar pick up the victory last night. He beat Jonathan Davenport, Ricky Thornton Jr., and Chris Ferguson to the line, and Kyle Strickler, he was the top 5 finisher.
That was in the first of 2 twin feature events last night.
Right.
The second one was won by Hudson O'Neal.
We are going to attempt to get Blackjack Brian Brown and Mike Marlar on Monday on Mostly Motorsports, and we're going to try to get those guys on.
I think Mikey's got a good shot of winning that big money tonight, don't you think?
I think Mike Marlar is one of the most underrated race car drivers there is.
Yeah. He had a little trouble getting past his brother last night, a lap car that kind of held him up just a little bit, but he was able to get past all of that and keep Jonathan Davenport at bay. But Mike looks pretty strong. He won that Castrol Flow Night in America race back in April, which was his first ever win at Eldora Speedway.
And he's a 3-time Knoxville Nationals champion up there as well.
Those are his biggest wins,
right,
at Knoxville. But
I don't know if
I think Mikey's got a good chance at it.
Would you call it that his biggest wins?
Oh, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, as far as crown jewel wins,
right?
The 3 wins that he's got at Knoxville have to stand at the top. But if he wins tonight,
if he wins tonight,
you move this one ahead of those 3 Knoxville wins because this would be the biggest paying win. It's the biggest paying
What's it pay
race
tonight?
of the year, $129,000 up for grabs
Oh, my
for the
goodness.
winners. 100-lap feature race. And what I love about Eldora, Scott, are the heat races that start out tonight because those races set up your lineup for the feature event. And there's no hot laps tonight. They set these heat races up. That's what starts out the night. And they are as competitive and entertaining as any
Kurt,
heat races you'll see anywhere.
We're going to Eldora, aren't we?
The Million and
How
the
about
Kings
that?
Royal in July.
And we've already got our RV spot lined up, don't we?
Got it all lined up, ready to go in July. $1 million to win sprint car race and the Kings Royal the same weekend.
Man, that's going to be a great weekend. I
Looking forward to
cannot wait for that weekend.
You and I have been to a big late. We went to the World 100 back in 2007, and it rained out the Saturday night portion, so we had to come back and finish it out on a Sunday afternoon.
Do you remember what they did? They qualified all night long. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They started about 11 o'clock.
So they had a lot more cars back then.
And they qualified all night long. Do you remember that?
I do recall that.
Yeah.
But the feature got rained out.
And then on the day of the show, the World 100, when the cars rolled out on the racetrack, it was blowing dust terribly. But it was one of the best races we ever seen.
Might be the best 8-time race I've ever seen.
Maybe.
Jimmy Owens won that day.
Remember,
there was some
Bloomquist was leading. Remember,
yeah, right?
And he had some problems.
And if you remember the heat races that day, Chubb Frank had a bad wreck, got up onto the front stretch fence, and got almost rolled over on his top that day. But the heat races were about as entertaining as the 100-lap feature itself that day. So you and I have had experience with the big late model weekend out there with the World 100.
Did we take the Bounder out there, Kurt?
We did. Yeah.
The little old Bounder.
The little Bounder. You and me.
You and me took the old Bounder out there.
And we towed the golf cart behind.
Did we?
Yeah. We had a good time. So we're going to have another good time again in July. That's going to be fun.
Well, I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to going out to the Pennsylvania Speed Week. Deidre is going to have some surgery, and
while you're gone,
I might have to come back a little early.
Oh my! Well, they open up at Williams Grove Speedway on the 23rd of June, Friday 23rd of June at Williams Grove, Saturday at Lincoln, Sunday at Baps Motor Speedway, Monday, June 26th at Lincoln Speedway. Then they go to Grandview the next night after that.
You want to fly out there, Kurt?
I'll see if maybe. Yeah, I'd like to get out there while Port Royal is racing.
Right.
That's the place I really want to see.
That's the number one place I want to see.
But they race on Saturday and then again on Monday, Saturday, July 1st.
Are they going to Selinsgrove and Williams Grove as well?
They are. Selinsgrove on Sunday, July 2nd, and twice to Williams Grove, 2 consecutive Friday nights. So,
wow.
That'll be fun.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Now, that same weekend, the first weekend you're out of town,
right?
John Lee and I are going to go up to the Huset's Speedway for the final night of the High Bank Nationals.
Are you going to drive home that night?
$1,000. We're going to stay in Sioux City the night of the races and then drive back on Sunday.
You and John Lee?
Yeah. 5.5 hours up there. We're going to have to leave as soon as we get off the air this is 2 weeks from today, 10 o'clock. We're heading up the road.
All right.
So looking forward to that. I've never been to Huset's Speedway.
I've been there.
So
it's a beautiful racetrack.
That'll be fun.
It is one of the nicest racetracks in the country.
Hey,
to be honest with you.
A couple of notes from last night. Brandon Overton smacked the wall down in turn number 1 during the heat race last night, and that was a heavy hit. He didn't get right out of that race car. He crawled into an ambulance. He got out on his own, crawled into an ambulance.
Yeah.
But I think he's okay. But boy, he tore hell out of that race car
All
for
right.
a guy that's going for his fourth straight Dream feature tonight. Brandon Overton. Hope he's okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Don't forget, hour number 2 is going to be on our Facebook page, Twitter page, and racingboys.com. You can watch the show, hour number 2. And it's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. They'll be racing down at CMS tonight. So get down there and check them out. And for the Drake, for Todd Surprise, and Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you at hour number 2.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you next week.
Trust is a big deal, especially when it comes to your health. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're a man suffering with erectile dysfunction,
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for Sprint Car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, SprintCarStuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guide. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. I'm Scott Traylor. He's Kirk Elliott. We're the Racing Boys. I got to sneeze, Kirk.
The Indiana Midget Week is well underway out in Indiana, of course. Last night at Bloomington Speedway, Gavin Miller won his first ever USAC National Midget race last night. I thought maybe Jade Abedisian would have a chance at that. But on a restart, 9 laps into the race, Gavin Miller dipped down to the bottom of her. She checked up, got into the loose stuff up high, coming off turn number 2, and lost about 7 positions. I think she ended up 10th when it was all over, but boy, you can't afford to make mistakes in this game. Gavin Miller, who is a rookie on the tour, made no mistakes last night and was able to pick up his first ever win. Buddy Kofoid won twice on the Indiana Tour this week, driving for Keith Kunz Motorsports before he had to check out after his win on Thursday night at Putnamville. Of course, he raced the sprint car last night at Attica for the Vermeer team that Hunter Schoenberg used to drive for. But earlier in the week, Buddy Kofoid won 2 midget races. He was the 2-time champion for the National Midget Series, but he's not racing full-time in that series this year.
Hey, Todd, you want to try to get a hold of Brian Brown?
I'll try texting him.
Yeah, text him and ask him if he can come on the show real quick.
Other winners this week, Jacob Denny won the first night out at Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt on Sunday night. Buddy Kofoid, the winner at Circle City on Monday night. They took Tuesday night off. A lot of those guys went to Eagle to race the High Limit Series on Tuesday night. The series came back on Wednesday, and Logan Seavey won his first for the new Abacus team. He's driving for now, the Chili Bowl champion, picked up the win at Gas City. Buddy Kofoid on Thursday night at Lincoln Park Speedway in Putnamville, and then last night Gavin Miller at Bloomington. Tonight they're at Lawrenceburg, and Sunday night at Kokomo before they wrap things up on, I guess that is the final night. Sunday night at Kokomo is the final night of Indiana Midget Week.
Kirk, I am so excited about going to PA Speed Week. I can't even begin to tell you how giddy I am about that.
And you'll be at a couple of tracks you've been to before, Williams Grove Speedway.
I've been to Sealands Grove and Williams Grove.
Yeah.
And
you've not been to Port Royal yet.
I haven't been to Port Royal yet.
That is a bucket list racetrack for me, Port Royal Speedway. Every time I tune in to watch races at Port Royal on the video, I'm never disappointed. The track prep that they do on that facility is first rate.
Well, let me tell you this. I am so excited about getting out there and meeting some of the people that listen to our show on Mondays.
Got a lot of great fans out there in PA. And there are great sprint car fans in Pennsylvania.
Tammy, just everybody out there. Just
Murray.
Huh? What's that?
Marie. Yeah.
Marie is definitely one of my favorite people. Definitely.
You know, we had Jake Swanson on here a few minutes ago. The non-wing sprint cars are in PA coming up this next week. They start that Eastern Storm Tour on Tuesday night at Grandview Speedway.
Right.
And then they move on to Bridgeport on Wednesday night, Big Diamond Speedway in Pottsville, Pennsylvania on Thursday night, Friday at Williams Grove, Saturday at Port Royal. That's a can't miss to watch race.
Yeah.
Non-wing sprint cars at Port Royal Speedway. So
it's like somebody
be
said
interesting to watch all of that coming up here
might
this
be
next
some
week.
rain in the forecast for tonight at Knoxville is what somebody just posted there.
Oh, man.
I don't want to hear that.
Let's
in
hope that doesn't come through.
It's there in our chat room right there. So I don't.
You know, that's a
can
bummer.
Can you pull up the weather map?
I'm going to pull that up right now. That's what I was getting ready
That
to
would
pull.
be a bummer because both nights, they were supposed to race there in April, if you recall. Both those nights got rained out.
Yeah.
So if tonight does get rained out at Knoxville, let's hope it doesn't. Right now it's still on for the Knoxville Raceway. That would mean that they would only have one night
Can Brown
of
do it
racing
again?
before the Knoxville Nationals.
Can Brown do it again?
Sure he can. Absolutely.
Is besides Danny Lasowski, is Brian Brown the new king of Knoxville? Is he the guy that when you want to bet on somebody, do you put your money down on Brian Brown?
Right now, yeah.
Right now, yeah.
Austin McCarl's not too bad either.
Well, I tell you what, the Knoxville regulars held themselves very well. We keep talking about the PA posse winning at Williams Grove all the time against the Outlaws. Yeah. Well, last night, Brian Brown and Austin McCarl held their own very well against the Outlaws last night at the Knoxville Raceway. I think Austin ended up in fourth place, but he was on the pole. If you remember, Austin McCarl was on the pole for the Nationals last year.
Austin was fourth last night. Yeah. He finished behind Brad Sweet and Rico Abreu.
And you remember he started on the pole of the Knoxville Nationals last year.
Right.
So,
all right.
You never can take Austin McCarl. You've always got to take him serious.
Yeah.
Because he is a hell of a race car driver, to be honest with you.
I think we'll be all right. You might have
the big unit, they call him.
I'm looking at some of our. You might have a little bit of showers there for a little bit, but I don't think.
But that thing up there.
Well, that's
up to the north.
So here's the hourly forecast. What we got going on.
It's scattered.
Yeah, they're only talking.
It's hit and miss. Looks like to me.
3% chance. 3% chance. 9:15. So
I think they get it in.
We'll get it in.
The bigger chance of rain, guys, is earlier in the day.
Eldora is the number one thing that I want to see get in tonight.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any issue with the weather at Eldora Speedway tonight for the late model Dream.
There's a 50-50 shot of rain at 9 o'clock tonight up there. So
in Eldora?
No, in Knoxville. So it might be.
I bet they get it in.
I think they'll get it in unless, like you said, it's hit and miss is what they're saying. So I think you guys will be all right. But yeah, you're right.
What'd you think of the high limit race up at Eagle the other night?
Well,
good racetrack.
Yeah.
It was a little bit bumpy, as Brent Marks found out, up on the high side in turns 1 and 2.
He got upside down, didn't he?
He got up into that rust up high in turn 1 and 2, and he went to bouncing, and over he went while leading the race.
Right.
So not a good night for Brent Marks, the way that turned out.
I didn't see that race, Kirk, to be honest with you.
Kyle Larson wins his third high-limit race in a row after starting in the 7th starting position on Tuesday night. He raved about the Eagle Raceway up there, and they had a great crowd, so I'm sure they'll be back next year. Rico finished in second. Giovanni Scelzi, who won the $50,000 to win race at Lakeside Speedway, back in April, returned for his second high-limit race and started 17th and ends up 3rd. Buddy Kofoid was 4th, Anthony Macri 5th. Chase Randall, who won at Houston Speedway last Sunday night, finished in 6th place, followed by Zeb Wise, Jake Buback, Aaron Reitzel, and Corey Day. Rounds out the top 10.
Chase Randall won up at Houston in the 410. Yeah.
Big win for him up there.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So, but it was a great night. They had almost a packed house. I didn't see
Carson
very many
Macedo
empty seats
picks up
Eagle.
the big win at the Big O Showdown. Did you see that, Kirk?
I did watch that. That was at
Right.
Ogilvie Raceway last Saturday night up in Minnesota. First time the Outlaws have been at that racetrack. That's a pretty good-sized racetrack. That looks almost like a half mile to me.
Right, me too.
The big note in that race is when Brad Sweet and David Gravel got collected up when Tim Estenson got sideways,
Right.
and both Gravel
Piled
and Sweet
into him.
got collected into him. Gravel got the worst end out of that deal after winning at River Cities on Friday night, a week ago last night. Comes into Ogilvie Raceway and had a pretty fast race car, but they thought maybe they got the car fixed after he got in that incident. Brad Sweet was able to still get a good top 5 finish out of that thing, but Gravel spun out again and didn't have a good finish at all. And Carson Macedo taking over the points lead in the World of Outlaws.
Seth Bergman picked up the win at the ASCS National Tour race at Outlaw Motor Speedway. Did you see that?
I did watch that. That was a week ago last night. They were supposed to run the Mickey Walker Night 2 at Caney Valley last Saturday night, but that event was rained out.
Yeah. And then David Gravel hunts down McFadden at Grand Forks. Did you see that race?
Yes. That was the race that preceded Ogilvie Raceway that Gravel won one night, but not so good a night the next.
Yeah. Corey Eliason picked up that all-star win at Beaver Dam. And to be honest with you,
that was at the Dodge County Speedway.
Dodge County.
Not the Beaver Dam Speedway, but the Dodge County.
Dodge County Fairgrounds, right. To be honest with you, that track took rubber.
It did.
It did.
We were on this show a week ago talking about all the tracks that took on rubber on the Friday night. River Cities was one of them.
Right.
Outlaw Motor Speedway and the Dodge County, all three took on rubber that night. Last night was a lot better Friday night for sprint cars because I didn't see any rubber issues at either Knoxville or Attica.
Right. Cap Henry picked up the 410 at Fremont at Attica.
That was last Saturday night.
Yeah.
And, of course, last night they had the All-Stars there.
Right.
That's a pretty racy track. I've never been to Attica Raceway, but every time I tune in to watch, you have to deal with visibility issues.
All right,
Attica.
Let's set up our Chase Rodman interview. Let's do that.
He is the pit reporter for the World of Outlaws, and we spoke with him prior to last night's race at the Knoxville Raceway. And does a great job. Last weekend, they were at River Cities in North Dakota and Ogilvie in Minnesota.
He might, I would say, between him and what's the kid that worked for us, Kirk?
Wilner.
I think between Wilner. Chris Wilner.
Chris does the pit reporting for the High Limit Series.
Right. He does that. And what's the young kid's name?
Connor
Wade.
Connor Wade.
Connor Wade does as good a job as anybody out there. Who do you think are the three best pit reporters out there, Kurt? Chase Rodman, Connor Wade, Chris Wilner.
Yep, they all do a great job. Ben Shelton does a good job last night down at Eldora Speedway.
He does a great job as well.
For the late models.
Mm-hmm.
Christy Bemis for the
and not that I'm not fond of Scotty Cook, because I am.
We love Scotty Cook.
But he's more family than we don't.
But the problem with Scotty Cook is he just doesn't he's just not studious enough. He just kind of goes in there and wings it, right? But that's what people love about Scotty Cook more than anything.
I like his work.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a good job.
We love Scotty Cook.
You know, the thing about Scotty is where other pit reporters are afraid to go in there and do it. Scotty Cook goes in there and gets in there when they're mad or when they're not happy and when they're angry, and he gets in there and puts the mic in front of their face. And not everybody does that. That is a racing boys thing that we used to do, right?
I think Knoxville has hired a good young pit reporter this year. Blake Young is the new pit reporter up at the Knoxville Raceway, and heard his work the last couple of weekends. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, you want to set up this Chase Rodman interview?
Here he is, Chase Rodman, pit reporter. We have him on our show, Mostly Motorsports, every Monday to give us an update of what's going on in the world of outlaws. And here's a portion of the conversation we had with him on Mostly Motorsports earlier this week.
Carson Macedo picked up the win at the Big O Showdown. What did you think of that win?
I mean, I thought it was just all but dominating, really. You know, he started outside the front row and, you know, won by 5 or something seconds. But, you know, that was cool to see. And then he did it on the right night. You know, both of his championship competitors, Brad and David, have a problem in the same crash. And Carson's able to jump out to a 10-point lead over Brad and 20-something points over David now. So it was a good night to win by 5 seconds when those other two guys get an incident. So it was quite the drama-filled feature. I don't know if you guys saw at the beginning, but there was right after the 4 wide, there was a medical emergency. The race was stopped for 20 minutes right after the 4 wide.
What was that all about? Can you tell us what was going on there?
Yeah, from what I heard, it was one of the track officials or something that works over there. He had a heart attack or something. I didn't hear what came of that. I know they had to transport him to the hospital or something. I didn't hear his condition after that, but that was what was stopping us there for about 20 or so minutes.
Talk about that incident that collected both Brad Sweet and David Gravel. Tim Estenson in the middle of the racetrack. Looked like Gravel got far worse end of that deal than Brad Sweet did.
Yeah, it looked like, and I asked Schuhart about that in his interview, and, came up on Estenson. It just seems like, man, when you get into that area, some of the lap cars are just so far off the pace. These guys just aren't used to catching people that quick, going into the corner. And Estenson had some damage prior to that. His nose wing was kind of messed up, and I think he might have had some other front-end damage that was kind of keeping him off the pace a little bit. And then, just getting into the corner, he just spun out, it looked like, right in front of Logan, and he went to miss him and finished him off, and Estenson kind of backed up the track, and Brad, and he had literally nowhere to go. I can't remember if it was Brad that hit him first, or I think it was Brad that hit him first, but it looked like Brad hit harder and had like almost no damage, and David came in there later and knocked the nose wing off. So
and he got stuck in the pits too, didn't he? He got stuck in the pits. He wasn't allowed to come back out, was he?
Well, yeah. I mean, he was stuck in the pits, and then there was kind of a little bit of drama going on after that when. We were going yellow anyways. Baston had jumped the start on the next one, brought up a yellow, but then Bill Rose at the same time had some kind of problem. He stopped on the track, and, people are thinking that Bill Rose is doing that on purpose for David or something. All these conspiracy theories are coming out and whatnot.
Right.
And then, they were able to get David fixed and get it back out there. I think he finished 11th, but, there was just a lot of drama.
It was really a feast and famine weekend for Gravel. He had such a great night up at River City Speedway up in North Dakota, and then, he was not a happy camper on Saturday night.
McFadden won at Lawrenceburg, too, right?
Yeah, McFadden won at Lawrenceburg. That was a big win for those guys. That's the first win they've had after that penalty that, they suffered a few weeks back. And then, David, McFadden probably should have won over there at River Cities on Friday night, but that's one of those issues when you're the leader of the race. Sometimes it's just not the right place to be, and it takes rubber, and Gravel finds it first and passes him. But that was a good deal for Gravel. He hadn't won in quite a while. I think it was like 10 or 11 races. So get him back to victory lane, and man, entering that night, it was a tie between Carson and Brad points, and David was 8 back, and I was like, man, there's just no way that they can get any closer than this. And we went on to the next night, and it was Brad leading by 2 points over David and Carson. They were tied for second for 2 points. I mean, it was just a crazy weekend as far as the points go.
Yeah. And then David Gravel hunts down McFadden at Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Yeah, that was what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just it sucks to see that for McFadden. He's never won 2 races in a row on the Outlaw Tour, and it was pretty darn close to happening. But
right.
It's just one of those situations, man, when you're out front, you think you're doing the right thing, and he said in his interview that he tried the middle there a few laps before that, and it just didn't feel right, and that's all it takes, man. Is maybe a lap or 2 later, and it's hooked up through the middle, and David took advantage of it.
Do you feel like McFadden is carrying the 83 Roth Motorsports car better than anybody has been in the last several years? Do you feel that way?
I think he is. Darren Pittman ran that car for a year or two, and he had some pretty good success. And I don't know. It's hard to say though, because James, he struggled pretty bad last year. Only had that one win, and it took forever for him to get that win. He did obviously have a lot of good runs along the way, but this year 3 wins, almost 4 already. Unfortunately, that penalty, that kind of hurts as far as the points go. But he seems like he's been one of the best drivers they've had in that Outlaw car for quite a while. I feel like Corey Eliason, he was pretty good in it. In 2019 maybe or something like that when he ran. But yeah, it seems like James has been, a pretty good fit for those guys. Seems like
it seems like the chemistry is good with those guys, to me.
Oh yeah, they always have fun, and they got Brent Ventura out there as the crew chief now. He was kind of, part time. He'd be on the road a little bit last year, but he's been the full time guy this year, and he's been doing a great job. And he's one of those guys you look at him and you just don't think Brent Ventura is a crew chief, a winning World of Outlaws crew chief. He just seems like a normal guy walking around the pits, but he does a great job, and him and James seem to have a good relationship. And then you got Woodman out there.
Right.
And Rob Beatty as well. They're a fun bunch of guys. They always seem to have a good time when they're out there at the racetrack.
Do you feel that Buddy Kofoid has slowed down a little bit since he's been back in the 71 car? Because he was driving the 11 car and he was really ripping with that car. But do you feel like he might be slowing down a little bit with the 71?
Obviously, I feel like Bernie's stuff is good. It's just, when you look at the stuff the 11 had, I just feel like they literally had the best of the best motors, cars, trailer. Brad Alexander, he's proved himself to be a pretty good crew chief. Obviously, Bernie's really good as well. But Buddy, I feel like he's one of those guys that can carry a car that, and I'm not saying the 71's bad at all. I think it's a great car. He finished 5th at Lawrenceburg with it.
Right.
But, I just think that Buddy's a good enough driver to where he can get in just about anything that's halfway decent and make it go pretty good. It's just I'm sure he's not too thrilled with the fact that he's not going to be running the sprint car on a full-time basis with the World of Outlaws.
Yeah.
He's running a midget. I think he ran it last night. He's going to run it again tonight. I think he was trying to get away from the midget deal. He wants to be more a wing sprint car guy. I'm sure he's not happy about that, but I think that by the end of the year, maybe in the off season this year, he'll find something to put together something to run on a full-time basis next year, because I think that's where he wants to be, is on a full-time tour at some point.
I want to ask you about Sheldon Hodenshield. Looked like he'd been struggling quite a bit here lately. He won that race at US 36 Raceway here a few weeks back. Coming up, he's the defending winner of the High Bank Nationals at Huset's. That's coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Saturday night, he goes from 19th to 7th. Does that give him a little bit of encouragement now, more than what he's had over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I hope so. It was a tough weekend for those guys. A tough week, I guess. I think he was in the B main the 2 of the last 3 races. Got upside down in the heat race at Ogilvie and had some other problems on another night. But, man, I don't know what's going on with them right now. Only 7 top 5s over the entire year so far. The next guy in front of him with the least amount is Schuhart with 10, and he's in 4th in points. The Sheldon's back in 6th. It's just, I don't know, man. They show signs of speed sometimes, but then other times they don't. But hopefully that run this weekend, that hard charger, can try and get momentum back on their side. There's just been so many finishes for them outside of the top 10 this year. We're looking at, I think it's like at 9 right now, or maybe more than that.
Wow.
But They got to get something turned around. And historically, Knoxville not exactly the best track for him heading into this weekend. But what I will say is this is going to be a huge weekend at Knoxville, because we were supposed to run there a few weeks ago, which normally we only have one stop before the Nationals. We were supposed to have two this year, but now it's back to one. And with that new tire, these guys are going to be wanting every second of track time they can get to try and get those tires right and get a setup going for the Nationals later this year. So this is a huge weekend. I think there's going to be a lot of cars trying to get themselves tuned up.
You know, they were asking the drivers last night about getting ready for the Nationals coming up with this new tire and everything. And just about every one of these guys said, yeah, I mean, but the track's always different in June than it is in August when they come in. You can get a baseline set up.
Well, there's more heat in the track.
Right. Mm-hmm. But it's different when they come back for the Nationals. Yeah, I mean, you can get some things right, but it's still not the same when you come back in August.
Yeah,
so
no doubt about it.
It'll be interesting to see. Hey, they had another 410 sprint car race last night down at Tulsa Raceway, and 18 racers showed up.
18.
Wayne Johnson won the feature event last night. Roger Crockett
I
second.
thought Wayne was only going to do the Silver Crown cars this year.
Well, they dug out the wing sprint car last night, and he won.
360?
410.
410. Power Eye 410. Is that
let
right?
me take that back. That's let me amend that. That looks like the qualifying.
Uh-oh.
I don't see feature results here from last night at Tulsa.
Maybe they haven't got it.
Did they finish it out?
Maybe they didn't get it in all.
That was qualifying results that I just gave.
All you got to do is go to the ASCS page.
No, the Power Eye.
Oh, Power Eye.
I went to the Power Eye page, but I don't see a feature results posted here. So I'm kind of wondering did they get it in? Unfortunately, due to an unscheduled pop-up rain shower, tonight's program at Tulsa Speedway has been canceled. Race fans and attendants are encouraged to keep their night one passes, and they can be redeemed for night two. So they're going to go at it again tonight. So the results that I just gave you were time trial results. So Wayne Johnson set the quick time last night, but they didn't get the feature.
They didn't
in.
get the races in.
They didn't get the races in.
He's hoping they're going to get it in.
And where was that at last night, Kirk?
Tulsa Raceway.
Huh.
But they got another night tonight down there, so we'll see if they get it in.
Just had a
Boy,
big...
they're racing a lot down there at Lake Ozark Speedway, aren't they?
They are, and next Saturday night they're going to have the 410 Power Eye sprint cars after they race at I-70 Motorsports Park next Friday night. Listen to this, Scott. Open wheel fans have to make a choice next weekend. They've got three places they can go to. They've got the 410 Power Eye sprints at I-70 on Friday night, non-wing Midwest wingless sprint cars on Friday night at Lakeside, and ASCS National Tour at Humboldt, all on the same night.
The Power Eye 410s are going to be racing out there at I-70 on Saturday night. Friday night.
And Saturday night at Lake Ozark.
Steve just posted Tulsa's rained out tonight.
So they rained out.
Tulsa's rained out.
So the whole
Ryan
thing
Ragland just posted Oklahoma City and Tulsa's getting hit really hard, and then somebody else.
So the whole thing,
Steve.
the whole weekend got wiped out at Tulsa.
Let's
a lot of rain.
Give Brian a
Yeah,
call.
I'm going to try calling
All
him.
right.
So then Saturday night, the non-wing NWRA sprint cars will be at I-35, the Power Eye 410 sprints at Lake Ozark, and the ASCS National Tour will go to 81 Speedway a week from tonight.
But that's a pretty tough to either go to the non-wing NWRA or I-70 Power Eye 410 wing sprint cars, or go to ASCS and go to Humboldt for the national tour.
Where are you going next Friday night? You going anywhere?
I'm probably going to be packing up my motorhome.
You're not going to go anywhere. I figure you might go down to Humboldt maybe.
I'm not sure where I'm going to go, to be honest with you.
I'll probably end up out at Lakeside for the non-wing sprint cars.
Well, I'll probably.
I can't be everywhere at once.
What are you trying to talk about, Kirk? Where do you go?
Where do you go?
Where do I go?
You got three choices: I-70, Lakeside, or Humboldt if you want to watch sprint cars.
Yeah.
Next Friday night.
I might just head out of town and just head towards the PA.
Leave early.
Right.
A week early?
Just get out there a little bit early. Find me a couple camping spots.
Yeah, that's the one great thing about a camper.
Yep.
You can camp along the way.
All right, let's bring on last night's winner with the World of Outlaws, Blackjack Brian Brown. Brownie, how you doing, brother?
What's up, guys? How are you this morning?
Man,
Hey,
you
man.
had it going on last night.
Hey, listen, you stomped him last night, buddy.
I wouldn't say that. We had a good night. Started off good, qualified well, won the heat. I was really good in the dash, and was able to get up there and kind of contend for the lead, get the lead, and then just kind of I ran as hard as I could for 25 laps, and it worked out there at the end. So my car is really, really good right now, and Chad and the whole team's doing a phenomenal job. So it's we're in a good spot. Just got to keep it rolling here.
Hey, when you win by 3.5 seconds, that says you put it on them pretty good. To be honest with you,
4.6 seconds.
4.6 seconds.
Man.
4.6 seconds. Now that's an ass whipping right there.
Yeah, especially you beat Rico the way he's been running lately.
Yeah, it's and I think a lot of it too is just I feel like Brad and Rico and even in Victory Lane said that they were a little bit gassed. A little bit. It's 25 laps nonstop, heavy traffic, things going on. On a pretty treacherous track, or with a big curb and things like that. I think it just kind of proves. I'm proud of myself a little bit. I'm kind of bragging on myself a little bit of what we do during the week at the gym, just making sure I'm ready to race on the weekends because it's important. And I felt like I ran my last lap just as hard, and just as focused as my first lap. And I think that, your work during the week is paying dividends, on the weekend. So I felt great after the races, and I was ready to do 25 more.
Hey, let me ask you, what is your workout? What do you do to work out, Brian? What do you do during the week?
It's just a little bit different. Every year it seems like I try to change it up a little bit. Me and my wife Heather, we go to a deal now called Hot Works, and basically it's a sauna. So you go in there and you ride a bike for 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then switch to another class, and it's 130 degrees.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So I feel like if we can go in there and put the work in there and still come out on the other side feeling good, it's about the only thing that's similar to what we do racing-wise, because it's obviously gets very hot in the car. And, you can't quit in there, and definitely if you can get through that, it definitely makes it easier when you get in the car and it gets hot. And because late in those races, especially with the Outlaws, you can win them and lose them in lap traffic if you're not focused. And
right.
If you get to a lap car and you make a mistake, and then, if you get wore down a bit and you start thinking, gosh, I'm getting a little bit tired here, you start maybe missing your marks a little bit, and guys will pounce on you. And we were able to, just like I said, it was a good night overall. And it's easier for a driver mentally, physically, whatever, if your car is good. In years past, maybe I've been able to run the top, like a 17-year-old kid, but maybe not the bottom as well as I can. But
right.
I feel like I'm running the bottom now better than the top. So you mix those two together, and it could be dangerous.
Do you lift any weights during the week, Brian?
Yeah, a little bit, but nothing crazy. I'm not trying to be Mr. Olympia.
Right.
Just enough to keep in good shape. And like I said, it's as you get older, you just got to take care of your body a little bit more, maybe a little bit smarter than you did when you were younger. But like I said, it's we've got a good package right now, and that's just one piece of the puzzle. You have to have a good car, good engine, good team. Drivers got to be in a good mental and physical spot. And like I said, if you want to beat these Outlaws, they're tough races to win, and we're proud to win one last night.
It seems like to me that yourself and Austin McCarl are kind of flying the Knoxville flag for the guys that race up there weekly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said that for the last couple of weeks here, and I think I even said that last year. It's so awesome to see when the Outlaws go to Pennsylvania, where the PA posse, they go in there and it's a rivalry. You have to be able to, it's a rivalry. You have to win. Both teams got to win half the races. That's what I consider a rivalry. And
right.
I've said it all week long. I kind of put a lot of pressure really on myself, kind of behind the scenes. I want to win the races, obviously, myself all the time, but I feel like I put a little pressure on myself to kind of hold, the Knoxville regular banner, to live up to our rivalry piece of it. And Austin did a phenomenal job last night. And just to say, hey, if we want to beat these guys and call a rivalry, we got to beat them when they come to town at least half the time. And I was able to beat them last year, and obviously, beat them last night. But yeah, we need to get the locals, where they're up in there racing for wins, top fives, top threes. Austin finished fourth, so 2 locals in the top 5. So that was a good night for us. So
yeah,
like I said, it's good. But like I said, tonight's a new night. Hopefully, we can do the same things we did to start the night last night, and hopefully put ourselves back in a good position to go back and fight for another win.
Did you get a congratulatory text from Kyle Larson last night?
Actually, I did. So yeah,
you did.
Yep. He sent me a message there, and that was good. So yep.
Hey, not that we want to beat on the drum too much, but just to be honest with you, Kirk and I had your back, and let me tell you something. What I thought Kyle Larson did on his podcast, I'm just going to say it. I think it was bullshit.
Well, that's so unlike him to do that. What do you think was going on there, Brian?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think I think he was doing it just to be a little bit funny and just kind of because he's a good friend of mine. I think that's what got me a little bit, honestly, maybe hurt my feelings more than anything else. It's just like he like me and him are great friends. We've been on vacation together before, so it's like we'll razz each other from time to time, but we obviously don't do it on a live media deal like social media deal like he did. But like I said, I don't really feel like he meant much by it. He was just trying to be funny and probably got taken a little bit out of context. But like I said, it's he's the best race car driver in the world. He doesn't need to say things to get clicks. People are going to watch the show no matter what. And like I said, I've always said from day one, I'm proud of Kyle Larson, like everyone is, good because of the race car driver he is. But I'm probably more proud of him as the person he has been since he's been 13 years old. He's not changed, and that's what I'm most proud of him. So it is what it is. Like we're still buddies. It's just maybe I want to beat him just a little bit more than I did 14 days ago.
Listen, just so you know, what really bothered me more than anything is when they said that you usually go backwards instead of forward. And that is complete BS, to be honest with you, because you're always trying to go forward. And I know you as well as anybody. I've known you for 20 years. And you're always trying to drive forward. I
think if you have to think about it through my eyes and look at it a little bit different of how maybe people aren't looking at it this way. I own my own team, and if you just want to look at stats, okay, where'd you start, where'd you finish? Maybe there are some nights I look like that I do go backwards, but here's the facts. When you start the race and say you're running 18th, and it's 15 laps to go, 16 laps to go, and nothing's happening. You're not, how good your car is. You're not going to pass another soul. I pull off sometimes. Okay, so that turns me into a 25th or 26th place finish. There's lost 8 spots. You didn't just lose the 8 spots. You just conceded it because, you can only go so many laps on my engines before they have to go back to get worked on. Wear and tear, and just how dumb will you feel if you crash running 18th? Because it doesn't pay any more money until you get to about 14th or 12th or whatever it is. So I think the numbers are skewed a little bit. I run as hard as I can every lap, and there's times I can pass cars and times I can't. And I give max effort every night, but I don't feel like we just go backwards nonstop. But like I said, everybody has opinions. You're not gonna
change
you're
the
not
opinions.
Gonna please everyone or change anyone. like I said, it's I want to beat him as much as we can, and that's not changed. And we'll hopefully get the opportunity in a lot of big races coming up this summer.
And we're always going to have your back, Brian. Just so you know, here at Racing Boys, we're always going to have your back, buddy.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, some people had said you guys had got on there and said some things that from what your guys' opinion was, and like I said, I appreciate it. And like I said, it is what it is. It's he said what he said, and was just part of it. Part of racing. Kind of just try to not to listen to any of the outside garbage. Honestly, just try to do my own thing and believe in myself, believe in my team, and go out there and try to get the job done.
Well, that was what's so shocking about that, because that's so out of character for Kyle Larson to say things like that. I'm going, what?
Yeah, but he got out and said that was an ass whipping at North Wilkesboro. So that was a little out of context, I feel like, for him also. So
well, that is so true. So hey, you know what really is heartwarming about what's going on with you this year is Chad Morgan, who was away from your team for about a year, and he comes back now. That's a great story.
The chemistry,
because it seemed like a couple of years ago that things were getting maybe a little bit stale there, but he comes back, he's re-energized, and it's re-energized you.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I want to win these races more for him than anything, just because honestly, his team he had last year just kicked him to the curb and said that he wasn't doing a good job for him and things like that. So for me, it's like I want to win every night, but to me, don't give me a little chip on my shoulder, because that gets me up on the wheel a little bit more, and I want to do it for him. I want to do it to show people that he's one of the best crew chiefs in the world, and I'm lucky to have him. But yeah, having a year and a half off did us both good. There's things I learned last night from Danny in that year and a half that won me that race. So that was good for me to be able to work with Danny, and still so appreciative for him coming and being a part of our team. He was the first one in off the scales to congratulate me, Danny was last night. And I talked to him after the races. So that's all good on that front. And yeah, to have Chad back and have him focused and have a little chip on his shoulder. We never got into it other than anything rather than wanting to win races. That's when we would, kind of bicker and fight. But we're on the same page now, and you get two guys that want to win as bad as we do on the same page, and that's a deadly, deadly combination. And I like where we are right now as a team. My dad, Justin Lauer, Lace Hicks, all of the people that put in the hard effort to give us a great car every time we hit the track. It's what it takes to beat these guys.
I want you to talk about that 17-year-old kid. He wanted to come start working with you when he was 15, and you told him that he had to graduate first. Tell us about that story.
Yeah, so kind of a weird how it all worked out. About, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we had tore a bunch of stuff up when we were in Pennsylvania, and there was somebody that had on Facebook or some marketplace that were selling a used tank, the particular type of tank I used. And, I bought the tank from, said, hey, I'll meet you at this spot. Well, when he showed up, there was like a mom and a 15-year-old kid. So he had been helping a guy out there by the name of Jeff Halligan, and just helping at the races and whatnot. And he said, hey, can I come with you guys this weekend at Lincoln? We're not going to be racing. I said, yeah, come on out, hang out with us. And he came, and I could just see something different in this kid. This is not a kid out of the grandstand that wanted just to, scrape mud. This kid was very, very focused. And at 15, he's like, hey, can I come? I want to come out and live with you guys and go racing. And I said, hey, man, this is, I can't, I'm not, I didn't have kids. I don't want to babysit. This is not my gig for you to come all the way to Missouri to hang out. So I said, just you keep doing what you're doing. And he was doing online school at that time. I said, you keep going through school and doing that, and I'll give you an opportunity. Well, 16 years old, he called and said, hey, I want to come out. I said, no, man, I'm not now. Just keep doing it. Well, finally, at 17 years old, he called, and I said, man, you're getting within a year or a year and a half of doing this. Come on out, and I'll give you an opportunity. So he came. I said, on one condition. I said, the schoolwork has to come first. Like, we have to get you graduated no matter what. So you have to do your schoolwork before any of the race car work can get done. And he agreed to that, and he's put in the effort to get his schoolwork done first every single day before he gets to work on the race car. And then he comes down, and he's a huge part of our team. He's 18 years old, but the things he can do and his attention to detail and things like that, if he continues on down the pace he's going, he's going to do a lot of good stuff in our sport. We're very lucky to have him. Yesterday he graduated high school, so
great.
What an awesome night for him, and we're just so very proud of him, for graduating and really the person he's become, and so glad we took the chance on him. And like I said, look forward to him being a part of our race team for a long time to come.
Brownie, let me ask you this. What do we need to do to get young people in the grandstands at these sprint car races? Do you have a philosophy there?
Man, it's tough. I mean, they used to come out of the woodwork and they want to scrape mud, they want to do nothing, and now it's just it's crazy. It's like you see kids that are just like last night, for example. I was just trying to think through my head a little bit here. We signed autographs for about an hour and a half, but you see kids that are maybe 5 to 12, and then it's weird. You don't really see a lot of kids that are 14, 15, 16 in that age.
Right.
And then you see older people. It's like that little small variety of kids is gone. So I don't know. Like, we got to do something. They did a deal with the Milton Hershey school out in Pennsylvania. I think maybe just trying to maybe get some of this stuff going at some maybe local schools that we're showing, taking a race car and doing a little deal, showing the kids what it is, and just getting kids that want to come out and be a part of it. There's a lot of very talented kids right now that know a lot about computers and things like that could probably help race teams, do different things than they're currently doing. But just not a lot of kids that are 18 years old, just like Justin, like my guys, saying, "Hey, I want to work on race cars full time." They're just not out there.
It seems to me that when kids stopped working on their own cars, that's when that transition took over. That's when the kids, young kids today, they don't work on their own cars. They don't take any interest in their own cars. They just take it to the mechanic and have them fix it. Instead of when I was a kid, you fixed your own car. You tap on the Quadrajet if the float was stuck on it. You ran your own valves. You did all that kind of stuff. And today, in today's world, we don't see enough of that, right?
No, I think you're 100% right. I feel like that, back in those days, you worked on your cars during the week and you went to the races on the weekend, and you talked about your cars when you got there. I think there's just a whole different mindset of, things it's just a different era, man, and things like that. Well, I had a question for you, Scott. What was it like when you guys first got to color TV?
Well, let me tell you, the first colored TV that we had, it was in about 1966. and let me tell you, that changed the world as we know. But back in the 60s, war was on television all the time, wasn't it, Kirk?
Yeah.
War was on TV all the time. And what they show back then, they wouldn't show now.
Well, the late 60s, where you think times are turbulent now, it was really bad back in about 1968.
Yeah, no doubt. 68 was a rough year for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I was just trying to be funny, Scott. I was trying to give you some
right.
No. He's bagging on you for being an old man.
I am. I am an old man. And Kirk's even older.
I'm older than you, though.
Yeah, he's 67.
Yeah.
Kirk is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the young one.
How about that Racing Boys show? How long has that thing been on the air? That's what I'm most proud about.
We've been on the air for 23 years together, Kirk and I have.
That's awesome.
Isn't that hard to believe?
It's you're doing something right.
Right.
And that's what you guys just know, that when you lay your head on the pillow at night, you're doing something right. like I said, we're proud of you guys.
Well, Brownie, for somebody that's gone to Knoxville since I was a young kid, I mean, we used to go up there watch Hank Smith race back when I was in grade school, and to watch what's gone on at Knoxville all these years, to see you're the number 2 man on the all-time win list at Knoxville is a big deal, because I saw a lot of those drivers you passed back in the day, like Jerry Blundy and Eddie Levitt and the Dick Sutcliffe and Bob Williams and all those guys, and that you're the number 2 man on that list means a lot to someone like me who's seen races throughout 5 decades at Knoxville.
Let me just say this, Brian. I've said it today on the show that I still think you have a shot at Dude's record. You can get on a roll. You could win a lot of races up there. And how much longer are you going to race, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Like as long as my health's good, I would love to race, into my early 50s maybe. I don't know. Like I just, like I said, when it gets to the point where I'm not enjoying it, that's probably when I'll go do something different. And owning your own team and trying to run your own team at the level we're doing it, it's hard. I mean, it's hard in general, but we're not complaining. We love it, but it takes a toll on you sometimes. So I'm not, even when we maybe slow down and we don't run 75 races, maybe we still run 30 of the really good races, and Knoxville's going to include a lot of those races. So,
right.
I want to race for a long time. I want to be a part of the sport for even longer. So, I would love to race into my 50s. It's just, like I said, I don't want to be 62 years old, looking at the weather today, hoping it's not going to rain. That's not on my plan. And my plan is to race till I feel like I can't do it at a high level, and then try to give back to the sport as much as I can in some fashion.
Hey, how was your right rear last night? Was it pretty good shape?
Yeah, my right rear was good. My left rear didn't look as well as I'd like. It had a little bit of blistering on my left rear, but I think that was just because I ran really, really hard around the top the first 10, 15 laps just to make sure I was in a good spot, and then kind of just ran a good pace. But yeah, I just need to look after that a little bit tonight if the situations or the track conditions are the same. So the track was awesome, and they gave us a great track. The Duncans, obviously they do, but it's good. But also before I go, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on. I'm racing, coming back home next Friday at I-70 Motorsports Park in Odessa. So if you're in the area, even if you're not in the area, come out and check us out. We're going to race against the POWRi 410 series. So it should be a good weekend, and I-70 Motorsports Park, awesome facility, and looking forward to getting back in front of our hometown fans.
Yeah. Okay, Brown. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the show this morning. If you win again tonight, we're going to have you on Monday. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right, brother.
We're going to do this until we quit having fun. That's my plan.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Congratulations.
That's Brian Brown right there, man.
He was the man last night.
He was the man. 4.6 seconds.
Hey, we appreciate him. That was a late notice deal too. He had
just
no
cold-called him.
He had no idea we were going to text him.
He gets up fairly early.
Yeah,
he gets up early,
and he listens too. He tunes in usually when he's able to tune in.
Here's a guy that gets it because he's a team owner.
Absolutely.
He's the one that brought all these sponsors together. He understands that servicing those sponsors is a big deal. So if somebody calls him up, hey, you want to be on our show? He's not going to turn that down.
No.
He looks at that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
To talk about not only what they're doing on the racetrack, but talk about his partners.
His sponsors
right.
love that kind of commitment that he has. And like you said, in Victory Lane last night, he had a brand new sponsor, Iowa Lottery. They were there. He won the race. I mean, that's pretty good when you get
an Andy's Frozen Custard neckband that he had on?
I thought so.
Maybe.
I think it was. And then he had the new popcorn
The Casey's popcorn.
The new popcorn. So
Yeah.
a new
He threw
sponsor
that
and a
out
new
there.
product last night. He's doing good.
FVP is another big sponsor.
Do we want to run the Trenton Berry
Yeah,
right
we run
now?
that before we get out of
Let's
this.
run that right now. Kirk, you want to set this up?
Trenton Berry, of course, he and the Stick run RacingDirt.com. They cover all the modified racing across the
USMTS
country.
stuff.
Been doing some ASCS sprint cars, too, here lately. But anyway, we have him on our show every week talking about what's going on in the world of dirt modified racing. And here's a portion of the conversation we had with Trenton this past Monday on Mostly Motorsports. How was your weekend up in Deer Creek last weekend in West Union? Big 4-day weekend for USMTS Modifieds. Had a chance to talk to you about that. How'd that go?
Had a lot of racing. It went well for the most part. It was a big car counts. You always expect that at Deer Creek, and they got big crowds every night, which was fun to see. And so, I think that's about what everybody could come to wish for out of that. West Union was pretty good Sunday night as well. We did, unfortunately, Saturday night had a little bit of a damper on it. There was a B-Mod racer that passed away in the pits, so it has a little bit of a damper on Saturday night. But
wow,
yeah, it was short of that, it was about what you can expect.
You got the big B-Mod shootout at Mason City Motor Speedway this weekend. What's going on there?
Yeah, so we're leaving. I'm leaving Wednesday morning. We're leaving bright and early. We're going to be in and out in 2 days there. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here. So Staley had decided this year that in addition to his Sunday nights at Mason City, he was going to run a couple of these midweek events. And so there's another one later on in the year in August for the stock cars, and it's going to be kind of the same structure, I've been told. And so I believe it's $7,500 to win, and he's done a big fish bonus for an extra $100, and you can race for $10,000 to win if you're able to get it done. So it's a separate entry fee that wasn't mandatory, but yeah, pretty crazy events. Not really seen one tried like this before, so I think a lot of people will be paying attention. My biggest questions: can you take a class for the working racer and put on a successful event in their point season in the middle of the week? So I'm very, very curious to see how this race goes this weekend. And I don't mean very curious in a negative way. I mean that I am genuinely very curious. Could this be something that other racetracks and promoters could look at as a way of finding success for their weekly programs? Could it be done in a little bit of a different way? So I'm very, very interested to see how this weekend turns out. Or that's not this weekend, but this middle of the week. You know?
And on the second,
you've seen this a lot.
On the second
a lot
day,
with sprint cars and
yeah,
late models, but like to be a true grassroots weekly class, this is pretty uncharted territory at this dollar figure.
The second day, it's going to pay $10,000 to win that B-Mod shootout, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's $7,500 with a bonus, a bonus extra buy-in bonus. So, I believe is what's been told. It's been so many different things, to be honest with you. I've just been going 1 week to the next. I know where I'm going the next 3 or 4 weeks, and much beyond that, I haven't dug deep into some of these events. And we got Cedar Lake coming up here in 2 weeks for the USMTS. I know what we're going to get into there. This one had a few different versions before we're finally coming to fruition. But I believe it's $7,500 with an additional entry fee if they want to pay it to decide. So
right.
Rodney Sanders got the points lead right now. He won back-to-back at Deer Creek before he finished 9th in the final night up there. A 4th-place finish at West Union. Driver from Happy, Texas, got it going on right now.
Yeah, and one Friday night down at Arklatex, won $5,000 to win that American Modified Series. American Racer Modified Series, and man, he's rolling right now, and he'll go into Cedar Lake for sure as an odds-on favorite to get one or more of those 3 days for sure. He's on fire right now. Jason Hughes looking very good as well. Jason was racing there in Vivian this weekend too.
Hey, I want to ask you, Trenton, about we haven't had you on since this happened. I was down at Lucas Oil Speedway a week ago for the Show Me 100. Great crowd, by the way. That place was packed. It was a great event.
Biggest crowd ever.
It looked like it. I mean, it was just a tremendous event. Great job by all. We get down to the end. Ricky Thornton Jr. wins, or so we thought, until he failed the droop rule. You know Ricky Thornton Jr. pretty well. He's setting the late model world on fire right now. You can't be surprised about that.
He's been winning races too.
No. Yeah, I'm not surprised one bit to see him have that success, and the fact that he backed that up with the after the Show Me 100 win that wasn't. I guess he went and won that flow night right away. Ricky's rocking and rolling. He's crazy talented. He always was. I knew when he was 19, 20 years old. First time I watched him race, he was still living out in Arizona, and he came to Kansas for a dirt late model race, 10,000 win back when there weren't just a ton of them, aside from the 2 National Touring Series. I saw him run third on that opening night. And, man, I got to figure out who this kid is, and he's just progressed his career. I mean, sky's the limit for that guy for sure. Ricky's not a known cheater. Like, that's not something he's about. He just had a parts failure. Now, it was a bad parts failure.
I think they broke a bracket on that car. That's why that happened.
Hold on a second. Does USMTS have a droop rule?
USMTS does not have droop.
He was pretty cool about it at the end of that race. There was a bracket that broke on the car that maybe caused that to happen. But, boy, you just win the Show Me 100, and you fail post-race tech. And he was about as cool a guy as anybody could be after an event like that. And just kind of shows you what kind of a guy he is to be able to come back, win that Flow Night of America race a few nights later. He backed that up with the preliminary win out at West Virginia on the big half-mile racetrack. He doesn't let things stop him. He just really doesn't let a whole lot bother him.
He doesn't let things bother him. Right.
No, that guy doesn't get rattled. He never did. And that's probably why he's so good behind the wheel, too. There's nobody on the racetrack going to rattle him. He's rocking and rolling. I'm telling you, he is one of the most talented racers in America. I mean, all divisions, whatever. He is wicked. He has wicked ability, and he has since I've known him.
I mean,
he's just one of those guys. It's just he made the race.
He won the King of America race down in Humboldt a few years ago. Remember that?
Yep. Won the King of America race. He's won the Grant Younghands race there at Lakeside as well. He's had a lot of success around the Midwest and well beyond. He won't be done at the Show Me 100. He's going to get him one at least for sure.
There you have it. That's Trenton Berry from RacingDirt.com, and they do a great job over there covering USMTS, and they're doing some ASCS National Tour races as well over there on Racing Dirt. So if that's where you want to follow the ASCS National Tour action, you can do so over there on RacingDirt.com.
Think Ricky Thornton Jr. Does
that sound weird, me saying that go to listen to the ASCS races over on RacingDirt.com?
It does sound dirt.
That's weird, isn't it?
The first part sounds right, racing, then dirt.
Racing boys.
Well, I watched that race at Outlaw a week ago on Friday night, and I thought they did a good job covering the event.
They do a good job.
Yeah.
That episode.
Michael Jackson is doing the video.
Yeah. Well, Michael is great.
Yeah, he's good.
So, Ricky, Trenton was talking about Ricky Thornton Jr.
Yeah.
Does he get it done tonight?
Yeah, Ricky Thornton might have he finished third, right?
I'm going to be pulling for Mike Mahler.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Because Michael come on the show.
Yeah, he always comes on.
We're
the
still
show.
trying to get Ricky Thornton to come on the show. We're still fishing with that.
I never really tried.
Still trying.
Well, I've tried a couple times.
Oh, you've tried?
I've tried a couple. If you want to watch that episode or go back and listen to that episode, that Jake Swanson interview was much longer than what you heard.
That was episode 265, right?
That's right. And his and the Chase Rodman interview were both much more lengthy than what you heard. We just trimmed it down for our show. So it's the Jake Swanson interview was really good. Like I said,
it was like 30 minutes.
Yeah, almost a full 30 minutes, 27 minutes. So go back and check that out and any of the Mostly Motorsports podcasts where you find any of your favorite podcasts.
Yeah. And the Chase Rodman was pretty lengthy, too.
It was. Like I said, I trimmed off some, and I trimmed off a little bit that kind of didn't make sense because there was another race that already had happened.
Right,
we kind of talked over it.
You know, Brian was talking about that young kid, that 17-year-old kid that come out and was hanging out,
right?
Graduated from high school. They had a story on that Dirt show the other night. Dirt, the last great American sport, and they were talking about Tyler Courtney and Tim Clausen. You know, Brian Clausen talked about Tyler Courtney hanging out with them when he was a young kid. And he stuck it out, and he hung around, and now look where Tyler Courtney is today.
No doubt about it.
So that is the ticket to success. You're a young kid like the one that's helping Brian Brown out. If you stick with it and you persevere and you work hard, look where that can get you.
Hey, Todd, did you hear about the Iron Sheik passing away this week?
Yeah, poor Iron Sheik.
What did he die of?
Old age.
Old age.
Yeah.
How old?
I think he was in his late 80s, but you know, that guy abused his body. He talked about all the steroids and cocaine and
all
crack and drinking.
The Dark Side of the Ring is a really good show to watch.
Documentary to watch, and like you said, you don't have to be a wrestling fan to get some good stuff from it. It was a really good documentary. Yeah, he what I thought was cool is if you follow my wife, who's not a big wrestling fan. She knows wrestling because of me, but my wife's followed the Sheik on Twitter since she got on Twitter. The day because the Sheik would post every morning. He always had the cuss words for you, the big F word to whatever so if somebody had passed away that day of AIDS, F the AIDS, and and he always had and so I don't know if you saw it the day after he died. He didn't like Hulk Hogan. He called him a jabroni and all this stuff. So the day after the Sheik died, there was a tweet from the Sheik, F Hulk Hogan.
The day after.
So he's even tweeting from the grave. But yeah, I did see that. We lost a couple people. So yeah,
all right.
I like I said,
we need to let you get out of here.
Yeah, I've got a little family reunion to go to. My family's all right. It's funny. My family's driving back from St. Louis, my immediate family, and then I got my mom's side of family having a party today, so we're gonna go do a little. Even though it's raining out there, guys, I don't think it's gonna hamper your whole weekend. So get out there and watch some racing tonight, man. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Just a couple of parting congratulations. It was Chris Jackson who won the Barry Memorial race out at Lakeside Speedway last night. Tim Carrick winning the USRA Modified. Kip Hughes wins the Sooner Late Models at Humboldt. So congratulations to those guys who won last night.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. It's all been brought to you by Rod End Supplies, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. They're going to be racing down at CMS tonight, right, Kurt?
Tonight is the night.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.